So my name is Omar Abasad. It is 5:04 p.m., September 26, 2019. So I tweeted a bunch of tweets today with a lot of data that I got from this detector. And from these readings, I have determined that I am being illegally surveilled inside of my home and tortured with different frequencies and different types of technology, like the active denial system, similar to the active denial system. So I'm just going to well, first, let me just show you the readings, if you could see there. You notice the high reading that just pulsed through. Um, that's because I believe that the signals are being pulsed in an array fashion. So it goes through a lot of numbers. So it just pulsed through at 43. Now it's 0, 36. So it's an array of numbers that I'm suspecting is in a computerized system that's aimed at me. So if I were to put this against my ear, and I'm looking at the electrical component. The electrical component is not moving a lot, but the EMF reading is pulsing through a range of numbers, and so is the RF. The other ear. See, it went up to 14, 15. And the electrical reading is 39 there. The neck. The chest. I have no magnets on my chest. So my chest is tagged. $110 there. Sometimes that number goes up, that electrical number goes up to 2,000 plus. And that's when I get heart palpitations. In fact, anywhere over 500, I get pains on the chest, in the chest. And when it hits 2,000 plus, um, that's pretty much heart attack range. So the EMF reading is changing there. Just got a pulse of pain in the arm. It's reading 31. 168. Sorry about the upside down, but the sensor is on this side of the detector. 703. So 784. So that's the left hand, right hand, both hands. See the RF went up to 5 plus, 7. So the numbers are all over the place. Now the back is burning and hurting. $203. 300. 900. So this area here is pulsed, and if you can see the numbers they pulse through. Just see if I can get a better view here for you. So this is an infrared camera, and look at the numbers pulse through. Notice the red number. So the 34.7 at the top, now 35.2, is the temperature at the middle of the screen. But look at the red number at the bottom of the screen. $35.8. And look at the green number. That's moving around the spot that I focused on. 34, 34, 9, 34, 9. But the spot I'm focusing on is 36.2. And the area around is 34.89. See, this is in sync with the numbers that were pulsing through the detector, because it's heating up the body at different rates. So the temperature is not constant, or it's not in a constant range of numbers. So I think you got the idea. Also, if I were to take this camera and I put it on my hand, you'll see the same thing happen. You'll see the numbers pulsing through. Because my hand is tagged. Look at the red number and look at the green number. And compare that to the left number, the number on the top left. Same idea. $36.1, bottom right, pulsing through 35.4, 33, 35, 36, 7, 35, 7. Did I see a 36? Could be wrong. Yeah, there is a 36 there. Should be wearing my glasses. 36, 1. 35, 36, 1, 33, 1, and 31.5. Red, white, green. So there's a range of numbers there. So the temperature as the readings on my detector all over the place. So um, I'm not basing my conclusions, as you can tell, by conjectures, on conjectures, imaginations. I am experiencing certain sensations, and the equipment I'm using, the pieces of instruments that I'm using to find out what's going on backs up what I'm feeling. So these are not imaginations, figments of my imagination. Also, the way I'm going about trying to find out what's going on, getting valid proof of what's going on before I make a conclusion, shows that there is no paranoia. There is no mental illness. There's no mental retardation. There is no there is no urge to jump to a conclusion very quickly without backing it up, finding proof of my conclusions. So it's a really scientific way of going about trying to determine or come to a conclusion based on your observations. So there is no paranoia. Um, I tweeted a bunch of tweets also about what's going on outside my window, and there is constant talking about my being a target, and I posted a few minutes of it, just a little sample of what's outside the window all day. Um, so there is, of course, an ongoing push to get me out of the building. These technologies, the technologies that are behind these recordings of what I'm doing, these signals, it is being used to set me up and frame me. Because I have observed that when the power is up to about 1500 plus, um, I almost have to verbalize about what's going on. There is this need to verbalize, to speak about what's going on, um, because I feel that I'm in danger, and I am in danger. When the power is turned up really high, I can very easily get a heart attack. I probably did get a heart attack, and I wasn't told. So there is this need. If somebody's hurting you, if somebody stuck a knife inside of you, and you're bleeding, you will, without thinking, verbalize about what's going on and ask for help. Well, that's what the shouting is really all about. Shouting, as in verbalizing. Um, People are saying I'm shouting, but it's not really shouting. It's verbalizing. Like I'm talking right now. This is shouting to the people around the unit, or the people who are listening, whoever they are, wherever they are. It doesn't always have to be around the unit. Um, this is shouting because the people who are doing this don't want verbalization of any kind, of any kind. So if I were to turn up the volume a little, because when these signals, the power is really high, it's a natural tendency to call for help. So without even realizing it, the volume may be turned up, because these signals are intended to make you feel anxious, to make you feel angry, all the negative emotions. Now, one way to deal with the negative emotions is to verbalize it, which is exactly what I do. I also tweet about it because if I don't tweet and expose what's going on, I will be killed. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that I will be killed because I am exposing something that is far beyond this building, and it's connected to something that is far beyond this building. It's a global connection to a sex slave ring that is making trillions of dollars. Epstein's ring is just one of the many rings that's run globally. The Jewish people are not the only one who have sex slave rings. The Chinese have it. The Indians have it. I mean, sex slavery in India is very, very, very common. So this is not a racist thing to say there is a Jewish sex slave ring that Epstein was running. It just happens to be Jewish. That's his ring concentrated on purely white European women and men, I'm sure, but we didn't hear about that. But take that template that he was using, he and his co-conspirators and the people who obviously backed him up. Um, it's the same template that's being used in all the other rings. So this ring in this building is being run by the Chinese, and the other rings are buying from the Chinese ring. So these technologies that I'm recording and documenting is just a way of enslaving the victims. Because if you're looked at 24/7, you're recorded 24/7, you're given feedback 24/7 remotely, uh, and verbally and physically, then you're enslaved. You have no freedom. If people, every single person you come in contact with, is given a file about you that depicts you as a criminal, as a prostitute, and totally defames and dehumanizes and degrades you, then you're not allowed to have a regular relationship with anybody. You're isolated. This is another common element in all sex slavery, in slavery, period, not only sex slavery. So Epstein's ring concentrated on white Europeans. There are the black sex slave rings. There are sex slave rings of different, not only ethnically based, but financially based, depending on which social standing you're in. All kinds of sex slave rings. The one here is using the same template, and I imagine the same technology, the remote technology. Because let's face it, the victims of Epstein's ring will never be free. Because obviously they were paid, they were procured, they were recruited when they were young, used for X number of years, I imagine. Then they could not talk about what they experienced. So they were placed with people or married off, quote unquote, or settled down with somebody who also had control over the person, also had control over them. They were not allowed freedom, ever, most likely chipped. So their husbands probably is part of that control network that discouraged, really threatened them into not talking and keeping quiet. Probably also paid off really good money. They're never free. And even when they're given money, they're not free to do what they want with the money. Now, I suspect that Epstein himself was a sex slave because first you have to be recruited, trained, and then you do the same thing down the line. It's a pyramidal scheme after all. So Epstein himself would have had to be recruited, trained, used, recruit other people, used, abused, and disposed of. So sex slave rings are used by all kinds of organizations, business organizations, corrupted government officials, corrupted military officials, corrupted um, uh, policing agencies, as Epstein's ring demonstrated all levels of people, far and wide. So from what I observed and what I experienced, I suspect that there is such a ring in this area, in Toronto, and I am exposing it. Therefore, my life is in danger as I'm demonstrating with these signals. Talk to you another time.